Hey fam, Master Coach G here, thriving after 50, mind, body, soul. And in this episode, we are talking about daylight savings time, springing forward. Yes, it's that time of the year. It may seem like a small thing, a small adjustment because it's only 1 hour, but let me tell you, it makes a big impact on your sleeping pattern and your health. So I am going to share with you some information that is going to help you understand what happens to our bodies and to our health whenever the time springs forward. This is Master Coach G, and I will see you on the inside. Hey fam, Master Coach G here, thriving after 50. And in this episode, we are talking about daylight savings time. Happy March, everybody. Yes, it's the third month of the year, which means that the time goes forward. It is time to spring forward. So I want to talk about daylight savings time, the effect that it has on our sleep, the effect that it has on our body, the effect that it has on our health. So daylight savings time is when we shift the clock forward or in the springtime, or we shift it back in the fall. So in this case, we are shifting it forward. We're going to spring forward for 1 hour, and it may sound like it's a small thing. Okay, it's just 1 hour, but your body doesn't see it as a small thing. We have what we call a circadian clock, which is our internal clock, and it runs on light. Not all of it doesn't dictate what the wall clock says. Okay, let me just say that. So when the clock changes, your biology has to catch up. Okay, so let me share with you how it affects your body and your health. Okay, number one, it disrupts your circadian clock. Okay, your circadian clock has a rhythm to it. It is a eternal 24-hour clock, and it controls our sleep. It controls our hormones. It controls our body temperature, our digestive system, and our alertness. So light in the morning tells our brain to stop producing melatonin. Okay, and that it's time to wake up. Darkness tells us it's time to wind down. Okay, some people, like my husband, for instance, he works at night. He sleeps during the daytime. It works perfectly for him. I have never been able to do that. I have to sleep at night. I like it dark and cool and be able to, to get my sleep. But when we think about springing forward, you suddenly have to wake up a little bit earlier than your body is ready for. Okay, so it's almost similar to like jet lag, if you will. For some people, it takes a few days to adjust. For others, who, especially the night owls, it may take a week or more for them to adjust to that. Okay. In the fall, falling back is usually easier because you're gaining an hour. But even then, the sudden shift still throws off your sleeping pattern. Okay. The second thing is that short-term sleep loss. Okay. After the springtime change, most people lose about 30 minutes to 60 minutes of sleep for the first few nights, okay? And that may not sound like a lot, but when you talk about quality of sleep, it is actually a lot, okay? So what happens is you will start to feel the effects of some sleep loss, reducing your focus and your reaction time. It increases your irritability, because I know that when I don't get enough sleep, I am very, 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 very irritable. Okay. It lowers your productivity as well. Okay. It also affects your memory. And you might notice that, you may be a little bit more groggier, especially the first day on that Monday morning. So this Sunday is going to be when the time goes forward. So Monday morning, you may feel a little bit groggy because of the time change. Okay. The next thing is that statistically has been noticed is that has been increased in accidents. Okay. Studies show that a small but a measurable increase in accidents, car accidents, and workplace injuries in the days after the time springs forward, okay, because of less sleep, slower reaction time, and that is a factor. It is a very likely factor, okay? The fourth thing is that the time going forward is heart health effects, okay? Now, it may not seem like a big deal, but it does affect our heart. There's evidence of short-term increase in heart attacks in the days after the spring time, when the time goes forward. Okay, there is evidence of a short-term increase in heart attacks in the days after the spring shift. Now, from what I have read and studied, that most heart attacks usually occur on Monday. Okay, I don't know why that is, but just from doing my studies, that's what I found out. Researchers think that sudden disruption in our sleep patterns and the stress on our bodies may play a significant role. Okay, the increase is temporary, but it's been observed in multiple countries, not just this country. Okay, interestingly enough, some studies suggest that a slight drop in heart attacks after the fall shift when people get that extra hour of sleep. So I would like to think that sleep is a direct link to heart attacks. Okay, we're going to do more studies on that, but I believe that it is. It also your mood change. There's an adjustment in your mood change, in your swings of your moods. Okay. The time change can affect your mood, especially in people already prone to depression and anxiety. The darker the morning after spring falls forward, you can feel the difference, okay? And the early darkness in the fall can worsen seasonal mood changes in some people, okay? Light exposure matters. It's really important. Morning sunlight helps regulate the mood and energy. So when you shift suddenly, your brain may struggle to adjust. The other thing is that it has an effect on our children and teenagers, okay? Children often have a really strong sleeping pattern and routine. So when the clock changes, it really affects them. The effect on them is probably a little bit more crucial than it is on adults, okay? Because number one, they have trouble with falling asleep because the time when it goes forward, it doesn't always get dark early enough. Like my bedtime is 8 o'clock. So, at some point at 8 o'clock, it's not even going to be dark yet. So I will have to adjust my bedtime, okay? So teens and children will have trouble falling asleep. They will have a problem with waking up earlier, and they will be more cranky. So be prepared for that. Don't be short with them because, you have to understand that their body is going through something as well. Teens are especially vulnerable because their natural sleep rhythm already runs later, because, and here in Texas, and I don't know how it is all over the country, but here in Texas, I noticed that the older children go to school later than the younger children. So because the teenagers don't go to school until late, that means that they usually go to bed later and they get up later. So springing forward can make early school mornings a little bit tougher. Okay, so that hour is going to make a difference. Okay. So the question here is that I pose, just doing my research is daylight savings time bad for you? For most healthy adults, the effects are short-term and mild, but the body usually adapts within a few days. But at the population level, we'll see some small spikes in accidents and health issues right after the spring change. Okay. Statistically, hospitals report more patients coming in the day after and the week of the time change. Okay. The main issue isn't the clock itself. It's the sudden sleep disruption, because there is a disruption in your sleep. Okay. So let me share with you how we can reduce the impact of that, because you do want to be able to minimize the effects of the time change, because it does affect your body and it does affect your health. Okay, so let's go over some things that's going to help reduce the impact. shift your bedtime by, I say, 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, get into bed earlier, 30 to 45 minutes earlier, several nights after the time change. So I would say give it a week. Give it 1 week and change the time. If you're really smart, you'll start that now. Today is Thursday, and I would say starting tonight, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you'll have 3 nights to make that change. So I would say start tonight with going to bed 30 to 45 minutes earlier. It will definitely help you with the impact of the time change. The other thing is that get outside in the natural morning sunlight as soon as possible. As soon as you can get up and get some sunlight after you wake up, I would say do that immediately as soon as you possibly can, because you will feel the effects and you will definitely feel the difference of the sunlight after you wake up from the time change. Okay, avoid late night screen time and bright lights this week. Okay, for the next 3 days, avoid the late night screen times, because that blue screen definitely affects your sleep pattern. So I would say definitely avoid that. Again, make sure that you're getting in bed 30 to 45 minutes before your bedtime. So if you're used to going to bed by 10 o'clock, then I would say by 9:15, 9:30, you should be in bed, okay? You're probably going to have to keep that caffeine in earlier than normal, okay? Usually, most people will get up and have their coffee, but it may be a little bit earlier in the day. But don't, drink it later in the day, because it's going to affect your sleep, okay? Stick to a consistent sleep schedule, even on the weekends, and I've always said that, in my, when I talk about the pillars, when I talk about especially the sleep pillar, to make sure that you keep the same sleep schedule, Sunday through Sunday. Don't change it just because it's the weekend. You say, oh, wow, it's the weekend, I can stay up late. Nope, keep your same schedule, because it's really important. Think of it like preparing for a short eastward flight, because, I'm in Texas, so when I go back east, I lose an hour. Okay, if I go to California, then I'm losing 2 hours. So, you got to make little adjustments ahead of time, which makes it easier. So that's why I'm telling you to start today. When you get ready for bed, 30 to 45 minutes earlier tonight, Friday, and Saturday. And then Sunday night, the time goes back. So if you're already struggling with insomnia, or heart disease, or depression, or anxiety, or you work a night shift, then it may hit you a little bit harder. Okay, so please know that going into this, that if you have insomnia, if you have heart disease or depression or anxiety, that this change may be a little bit harder for you. Okay, so in that case, being proactive with your sleeping habits is especially important. That's why I encourage you and recommend that you go to bed at least 1 hour early. An hour earlier would be great, but 30 to 45 minutes earlier, because it would definitely make a big difference in what you're doing. So to change up your routine, especially Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, get in bed 30 to 45 minutes earlier. You will definitely feel the difference if you get into bed earlier, because, daylight savings time does affect our sleep patterns, okay? Our circadian clock is thrown off, and that means that our body has to catch up with that, okay? So that's why I recommend that you go to bed earlier. And also remember that our children and our teenagers are going to really feel the effects of the time going forward. So be patient, be understanding. Monday's going to be a rough day for a lot of people. Okay, you're going to probably get into work. People probably going to have attitudes. They're going to have mood swings all day. So if you follow this recommendation on getting into bed 30 to 45 minutes earlier, you will be able to possibly avoid the mood swings, and the high anxiety, and possibly increasing your irritability if you don't get into bed 30 to 45 minutes earlier, okay? And the other thing that's really important to remember is that it does reduce your focus and your reaction time, okay? And lack of sleep does that. Lack of sleep does that. So, losing an hour is not, it doesn't work in your favor. So that's why I would definitely recommend that you get into bed earlier. So that way your circadian clock, because it has a rhythm, and we want to keep up with our rhythm, because it does control our hormones, our body temperature, our alertness. Sometimes we have to make decisions, but if you don't have clarity because of lack of sleep, then you're not going to make the best decision. So definitely get into bed 30 to 45 minutes earlier. I cannot stress that enough, because after the time goes forward, you lose about 30 to 60 minutes just in one night, and then it takes you a few nights to adjust to that. Okay, so you might want to follow the recommendation and get into bed earlier, because again, you definitely do not want to be moody all day or all week because you didn't get enough sleep on Sunday night. Again, you're gonna see the effects of it in other people, because like I said, they're gonna be moody, they're gonna be irritable, their reaction time is gonna be slower, their productivity is going to be lower. So these are the things that we have to be mindful of when we talk about the time change. And again, it may seem like a small thing that you're gaining an hour because the time is going forward, but I'm here to tell you that you will definitely feel the effects of the time going forward. So again, recommendation is get into bed Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night 30 to 45 minutes earlier. I would say if you can get in bed an hour earlier, please get into bed early. Get your children into bed early. I know on the weekends they probably usually stay up later, but if they stay up to midnight, then get them into bed 30 to 45 minutes earlier than what they normally go to bed, even on the weekends. But I always recommend that you keep the same bedtime 7 days a week. Okay, don't change that, because once you start messing with your circadian clock, the rhythm is going to be off. So if you stay up late on Friday and Saturday nights, on Sunday night, your body's not going to want to go to sleep on time. That's why I say Sunday to Sunday, keep the same bedtime. Okay. So that's what I have for you today. I really appreciate you all joining me here on Thriving After 50, Mind, Body, Soul. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope this episode has been a blessing to you. If it has, please share it with someone who's on a wellness journey that this information may be helpful for. And make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that every time I drop an episode, you will be notified. But before I get out of here, as usual, I got to give a shout out to all my listeners around the world, here in the United States, Canada, Australia, Russia Federation, China, Mexico, Belgium, Ireland, South Africa, Brazil, Nigeria, United Kingdom, Germany, France, Bangladesh, Ukraine, Kuwait, India, Hong Kong, Dominican Republic, Philippines, Barbados, Saudi Arabia, Spain, Japan, Indonesia, Pakistan, Portugal, Netherlands, Singapore, Peru, Samoa, Finland, UAE, Lithuania, Chile, Denmark, Vietnam, and Switzerland. I appreciate each and every one of you listening today. Until next time, keep shifting your mind, caring for your body, and nurturing your soul. I'm Coach G, and I will see you on the next